In the middle of the game, we had a lightning delay, and I was up in the press box with some people. And, we're in this delay, and at the time, there's no rain, there's nothing going on. We weren't really thinking there was anything too serious. One of us pulled up the radar, and we saw this big, system coming, and we were thinking, I think someone got a text message too that it's actually a tornado warning, and we didn't believe it. But at some point we were like, maybe we should get out of this press box. But we weren't thinking we were in any danger, so we left the press box, and a couple of the guys left, and my photographer for the Messenger at the time was there shooting the game, and he said to me, "Hey, should I just leave?" And I was like, let's stick around. They may still play this game. I'm not really believing that the weather is as serious as it ended up being. So I'm standing out at the old concession stand, and all of a sudden, it went from not raining to like the hardest rain you could imagine within a few seconds. So I duck into the concession stand for cover, and there's probably about 10, 11 other people in there who were kind of working with the game and hadn't left yet. They were thinking like me, hey, maybe this game will, end up getting played. And the rain is just picking up, and all of a sudden, it's almost like the concession stand, it sounded like I was in a subway. Everything started rattling, it was loud, and then the power goes off. So now we're in, pitch dark, and rain is coming down, and then out of nowhere, the roof rips out. Right, I was in the corner, and so it ripped from the corner I was in, so I can still hear that shearing of that getting ripped apart. So the roof rips off, and you're talking about in an instant, everybody in there hits the ground, hands over our head, just instantly, because, so I don't know how long we were in that setting, but it seemed like a lot longer than it was. I just remember thinking, like, is this really happening right now? Things calmed down after however long it was, and everybody kind of pops up and looks around. There was debris around us from the thing getting ripped up. Well, we ended up opening up the window to the concession stand, and we're trying to make a run to the doghouse, the locker room, which is still over here, one by one. But the light pole, the wooden light pole, had snapped, and it had landed right next to the concession stand that we were in. If it had blown straight back, it had landed on the concession stand, but thankfully the wind pushed it in such a way that it landed off to the side. So we had to hurdle this, big pole to get there. So one by one, we're like climbing out of the concession stand and making a run for it. So we do this, my photographer was next to me, and we run into the locker room, and we were like all hopped up on adrenaline, like, what has happened? Like, can you believe this? Meanwhile, we're soaked. We are as wet as if, we had jumped in a pool. Like, that's how much the rain was still coming down while we were making a run for it. So we ended up finding out then that the press box had been blown off. Chuck Robinson, who was the athletic director at the time, came in, and he was mainly talking to the team, because the soccer teams were in there, and he was trying to prepare them for what they were going to see. And he said, guys, be careful, there's power lines down, there's a lot of damage, the press box has been blown off. And I remember in that moment thinking, whoa, like, we were just in that press box thinking everything is fine and all right, and that press box was destroyed. We were lucky we left. Another 5 minutes, who knows what happens, but we got out of there in just the nick of time.